the Joltz team and I have been working very closely to build out this custom affiliate program for the Blockstream Jade / Blockstream store. So now affiliates will get, at the time of purchase, will get awarded sats, and 60 days later, and we're looking to shorten that time, the affiliate can then take out those sats. No matter how much Bitcoin goes up, no matter how much Bitcoin price goes down, the affiliate will have the same amount of sats as they did at the time of purchase.
Hello guys, welcome once again to Bitcoiner podcast. A year ago, I brought this guy to the podcast with Rick. Probably you will know the other name so far if you have been paying attention. The last time they made a really good podcast with me because they even do like a small tutorial. Well, no, it was quite good tutorial about how to use Jade wallet. We also talk about satellites. So you probably know by now that I'm talking about Blockstream. So I want to welcome Drew. Welcome, man.
Thanks for having me again. This is a blast.
Yeah, wow. It's been a minute. I mean, almost a year. The last time that we had a podcast.
It has been a year. But now you're looking better than ever. We're looking lean, mean, and Bitcoiner machines.
Yeah, and I have Jade over there, as usual. So yeah, Drew, so we have a challenge to make this podcast in 21 minutes. Probably will be 25. because probably in the near future we're going to have another episode, but I won't say anything about that. But yeah, let's try to do this in 20 minutes by now.
Speed round. Let's do this.
So guys, it won't make sense right now, but in a future episode, it will make sense why this episode is going to be about MiniScript. So that's why I brought Drew. We're gonna discuss about MiniScript, and recently I saw actually his article that he says that he explained a bit about how MiniScript is now supported by Jade. So let's dive into it. So I don't know, man, where to start. It's the first time that I talk about MiniScript in the podcast, so probably if you can share, like in a non-technical way, at first, how MiniScript works.
Sure. So MiniScript is a relatively, I don't know if it's relatively new concept within Bitcoin, but what it helps with is Bitcoin script. And if you have any familiarity with Bitcoin script, it's relatively difficult to work with. That's why you see all of the altcoins, that's what we'll call them, come out and say smart contracting and all these buzzwords that, when you get into Bitcoin, you actually fall into crypto. Yes, exactly. You fall for the buzzwords because you can do all these extra things that Bitcoin script can't do. Not necessarily true. It's just easier to do on these other platforms, these smart contracts. So what MiniScript does is it allows for easier scripting language to be implemented into Bitcoin. And Liana is one of the first, and I would say one of the easier platforms to use MiniScript with. And so the way that this is usable for just the Joe Schmoes like you and I is you can much easier set up like an inheritance plan, or you could set up a time lock for your Bitcoin, or you could have like degrading keys. So I'm going to explain a little bit more about what that means. So let's say for a time lock, you have a multi-sig wallet, and there's 2 keys to that wallet. And you say, okay, in 1 year, I only want 1 key to sign this transaction, but for the next 365 days, I need 2 keys to sign a transaction out. So with MiniScript, you can easily implement these time locks so that you can set in any amount of time that you want for that key to no longer need to be used for you to then send that Bitcoin out. Now, that is just a super basic thing, You could do 100 keys, you could do 10 keys, you could do 3 keys. It is fascinating and it's very new, and a lot of cool things can be built on top of MiniScript. That's all I'll say for now.
All right. No, that's awesome. You mentioned some things like time lock, and I probably for people that don't know what is that, what is time lock?
Sure, great. That's a great question. I should have explained that better. Time lock is a way for you, the user, to say, after X amount of time, this action happens to my wallet or my Bitcoin.
All right.
It's
So, no, go
it's
ahead.
time lock. Just think about it. After X amount of time, it becomes unlocked.
Yeah, so the idea behind that is that you have like a period to make a transaction, right? Instead of make it like instantly, you can do it like later, like 48 hours later, for example, right?
Yeah, so you could delay the send. So let's say you want to make a transaction now, but you don't actually want the transaction to go out this second, but in a week you want it to go out. You can do that with this. Like I said earlier, you could have a multi-sig wallet where you don't want the funds to be sent like you can't send out of the wallet unless you have all of the keys for 10 years. Until those 10 years are up, like you will need all 3 keys. So then you could just globally distribute your keys, or you could even destroy your keys if you'd like. And as long as you keep the one that you designated as the one key that you will need, you can do that. It just becomes easier for normal people to do very advanced things with their Bitcoin and wallets.
And what about the fees because when you're locking, what is the fee? The moment that you make that or the moment that it's delayed?
Great question. It is the time of the delay. So let's say like you set this time lock up, and you say, in 10 years, I want this Bitcoin to be sent to this new address. You will be paying the fee in 10 years. So if fees are crazy high, tough
Yeah.
luck. Like you can't prepay your fee. So that goes back to make sure you consolidate your UTXOs, like be on top of your UTXOs so that you have spendable Bitcoin, and you don't have a UTXO that just turns into dust in 10 years. It's just a general thing people should be on top of.
Yeah. And how this thing is integrated in Jade?
Great question. So Liana earlier this year integrated with Jade, and you can use Jade with Liana. And recently Liana came out with a really slick update that makes it even easier to use MiniScript through Liana. Before they required you, the end user, to run a full node, which is good, but some people don't want to do that, so you can run a pruned node on your computer.
How do you foresee features like MiniScript and Lightning shaping the adoptions of non-custodial?
Great question. A fantastic question, actually. So behind the scenes, the Blockstream team is talking a lot about Green and how to make it better. So some users are having a very difficult time with Lightning on Green right now, and we hear your complaints. It is being fixed. Blockstream does not have access to people's funds within Lightning. Some people are just currently locked out. It's currently being worked on to be fixed so that it is a seamless experience for anyone. And then for MiniScript, it is just a lower priority for Green right now. And the reason for that is, to be honest with you, there's just not a high demand for MiniScript in the grand Bitcoin thing. There's just bigger fish to fry right now for Green, unfortunately. But you have great options like Liana to use.
Yeah, but I think it will come with time, just like happened with Liquid. I think that people start using Lightning, and little by little they have been discovering Liquid, and so the demand got higher, right?
So before joining Blockstream, I didn't really know much about Liquid, but through the time at Blockstream, I've learned to greatly appreciate Liquid. And I understand I sound like a total shill for it, and you don't have to trust me. I get it. But it's a fantastic way to stack sats. You could stack on Liquid and then peg out, and you only have one UTXO then. So, I don't know, a great way to stack.
Yeah, actually, people from Blockstream, besides you, have been in the podcast and explaining how it works, especially will be useful in the global south, where high inflations are there. So it's really interesting what is going on. So yeah. Thank you, by the way,
Yeah.
for contacting me, the developers.
Oh, absolutely. You talked to Pablo, right? Or was it
Yeah,
Byron?
both.
Oh, there you go. They're both super smart. I highly recommend any listener to listen to those podcasts that Juan had with them. They're very smart and they explain Liquid very, easily for anyone to get. Before I thought it was pretty difficult to understand. With those guys, a breeze.
Let's talk about the new partner programs and with Joltz rewards. So
Hmm.
how this partnership happened? Because okay, I'm gonna tell you the other side of the story. I asked about Stephen, and he told me, Drew is a really great guy. He's always researching, and they find us, and he reached out to us, and he gave me his version, but now we want to know Blockstream version. So how do you come with this
Sure.
partnership?
Great question. And actually, I'm going to loop you into this now, too. Sorry. This is
All right.
my podcast now. I'm interviewing you. So before I answer your question, you're a great partner and you're one of our top affiliates. You as the affiliate, what did you think of the payout situation before we integrated Joltz? Just be real.
It took a lot. Yeah, that it took a lot of time because it was every quarter, and
Hmm.
we depend on a third party.
Hmm.
That it was you.
So there you go. So for the audience, the affiliates would have to wait for the end of the quarter to get paid out. So if an affiliate made a sale on January 1, they wouldn't get paid out until March or until April. So if the Bitcoin price ran up between January 1 and April, they would get less sats for each referral. And this was just super painful for affiliates, for Blockstream. It was just a real headache. And so I ran into actually Steven's business partner, Ian, at a Bitcoin
Mm.
conference in Las Vegas, Unconfiscatable, Tone Vase's conference. And Ian and I just started talking. He's another affiliate. And he was telling me about Joltz. And he was saying, yeah, it will auto pay out whatever you want to do in Lightning Sats. Once someone does an action, then the action is paid out in Lightning. And I was like, wait a second. And the brain starts churning. And, Juan and I talk. And Juan's like, hey, dude, it would be really nice to get paid a little faster. And I'm like, all right, how do I fix this? How do I fix this? And so then I said, hey, Ian, do you think your team could build out an affiliate program for us? And he turns to me, he's like, yeah. I was like, let's do this. And so for 6-8 months, the Joltz team and I have been working very closely to build out this custom affiliate program for the Blockstream Jade / Blockstream store. So now affiliates will get, at the time of purchase, will get awarded sats, and 60 days later, and we're looking to shorten that time, the affiliate can then take out those sats. No matter how much Bitcoin goes up, no matter how much Bitcoin price goes down, the affiliate will have the same amount of sats as they did at the time of purchase.
That's awesome. And actually, yeah, because you said it was really funny that you said, yeah, we need to get paid faster, but it's because we need to pay our bills.
And I get that. And
Yeah.
as you should, like, you're doing good work, you should be paid for your
Yeah.
efforts.
Any new features that you can share that it's coming next with them?
So we are working on a refer a friend campaign. So if a regular customer comes to the store, buys a Jade, and they like the Jade, they'll receive an email saying, hey, if you refer a friend, you'll get X% back. And in 45, 60 days, you can withdraw those sats. And then your friend or family, whoever it is, will get X% off their purchase. That's being worked on. Just general, like, if you purchase from the store, Jolt's team has a wheel that you do. And so after your purchase, you could spin the wheel, much like Fold, and you get X% back in sats. So that's a fun little thing we're thinking about. And honestly, Juan, I'm relying on you. If you have a good idea, I'm all ears, or anyone in the audience. If you got an idea for an e-commerce store on what you could do with Lightning, shoot, tell me. We're game.
All right. Thank you. I'll think about it and I'll let you know because, yeah, actually, you can do a lot of stuff. It's like a new world with this kind of programs, this kind of rewards. So
it's crazy. And then also, I shouldn't be saying this publicly yet because it hasn't been finalized. But we're thinking we're going to do the top 1 or 2 affiliates in the next coming months. Sales will get a Bitcoin conference ticket in May at Vegas. So keep your eyes and ears peeled.
Well, for the audience, if it is the first time watching the podcast, I always explain this, that it's a little game that my previous guests have a question. My current guests have a prepared question from my previous guest, and now Drew will prepare next question for my next guest. So Drew, right now, what he will do is to listen to Stephen Dodge's question. So.
Cuando dejas tus activos digitales en un exchange o en custodia de alguien más, te expones a riesgos de terceros no deseados. A diferencia del sistema bancario tradicional, Bitcoin te permite tomar el control total de tus fondos utilizando tus propias claves privadas. Esto te permite ser soberano y esencialmente tu propio banco. Al tomar el control de tus Bitcoins, puedes evitar riesgos innecesarios de terceros. Almacenar tus Bitcoin en custodia de terceros como los exchanges puede exponerte a ataques de actores malintencionados, gobiernos o estafadores que lo único que quieren es apoderarse de tu dinero. El proceso de autocustodia puede parecer abrumador al principio, pero afortunadamente Blockstream Jade Wallet hace que sea súper fácil custodiar tus activos. Las billeteras de hardware son dispositivos que almacenan de forma segura las claves privadas de tus bitcoins y activos de Liquid sin conexión a Internet. Las billeteras de hardware aumentan la seguridad de tu billetera porque tus claves privadas se almacenan en un dispositivo especializado que no está siempre conectado al Internet. Como te he dicho antes, mantener tus claves almacenadas en un dispositivo en línea puede exponerte a factores adicionales de ataque, por lo que se recomienda usar una billetera de hardware al almacenar grandes cantidades de Bitcoin durante largos periodos de tiempo. Jade es una billetera de hardware no custodial para Bitcoins y Liquid que ofrece opciones de firma simple y firmas múltiples. Yo personalmente lo utilizo para almacenar mis Bitcoins, ya que me siento mucho más seguro manteniendo mis Bitcoins en una billetera fría que en una almacenada, por ejemplo, en mi teléfono. Si estás pensando en adquirir uno para ti, no olvides utilizar el código de descuento de nuestro show, BitCorner Podcast. De esta forma estarás apoyando directamente el show y además obtendrás un 10% de descuento para la compra de tu billetera fría.
I kind of go back to Jeff Booth's point. More recently, I've been thinking about it of, this kind of crossing the chasm and making things a little less messy transition to, a Bitcoin standard. If the fiat world is going to go away and we do get to a hyper Bitcoin world, what does that transition look like? And so I guess my question would be do you think stablecoins on Bitcoin and Lightning makes the cleanest and less messy kind of transition to a hyper Bitcoinized world? That would kind of be my question. Because in my view, I think it's, you still have to meet people at their unit of account. I know people don't, might not like stable coins, but it's at least it's not a government dictated currency in a sense. It's pegged to it, but it's almost kind of like how we had it in the old days where you had these private banks. Banks could issue their own local currency and they could show their proof of reserves. And so if we're about a free market and we're about businesses kind of running, doing things freely and being able to transact freely, in my mind, I think stable coins on Bitcoin are at least the most logical next step to kind of transition from a fiat, just purely fiat government controlled world to at least a world that can get us closer, a step closer to still accounting for people's unit of account and making that transition as seamless and less messy as possible. So I'd like to know his opinion if he thinks that's the cleanest route to it.
Stephen asked, what do I think is going to be, are stablecoins going to help ease the transition to Bitcoin? And the answer that I have is yes. And I came to that conclusion relatively recently in my Bitcoin journey. For a while, I was a Puritan of saying Bitcoin, if you don't use Bitcoin, like, no, it ain't going to happen. And it's just, to be honest with you, it's not realistic. It's realistic for some parts of the world, maybe Europe, maybe North America, and, wealthier countries. I'm just calling it what it is. They can do that. They can withstand the high volatility, an 80% drawdown. Like, they don't need that money right away. And fine, good for them. But most of the world does not have that ability to do that. They don't have that privilege. They want US dollars. And if that's what they want, as I mentioned earlier, if there's a want, if there's a demand, then let people use it. Then don't be a Puritan and just say, okay, this is a clean stepping stone to hyper Bitcoinization. Like, there's countries in Africa that don't have landlines, but they have cell phones. Are you going to say, oh, you have to use the landline first in order to upgrade to the cell phone?
No way.
No. Like, let's just cut to the chase. Let's go to where people, what they want to use. And so, yeah, long story long, probably the cleanest way of hyper Bitcoinization is allowing or expanding stable coins, whether that's through Lightning, whether that's through Liquid, whether that's through other L2s. That's my honest opinion.
Yeah. So, Drew, let's get out of here. So, thank you very much for being on the podcast. Guys, it's really short episode, but the thing is that we're going to have another episode and that will be longer and you'll understand eventually why. So, Drew, thank you very much for even come short notice here and just to brainstorming a bit about ideas and thank you for this brief introduction for MiniScript. So yeah, thanks.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Juan.
All right, guys. See you next week. You'll understand everything eventually. So see ya. Bye.